Chris Scalzo here with
Matt Howell.
And in this episode of The First Run, Matt and I are going to discuss The Neon Demon, the latest film from Nicolas Winding Refn. Now, Matt, I've been looking forward to this one for quite a while, as I'm sure any casual listener of this show will know. Drive being one of my all-time favorite films, a film in the Pantheon. I am no longer allowed to include it in any top fives. That's how often I've talked about it. So, Matt, you could say I'm a sycophant. You could say I'm an apologist for Mr. Refn. We're going to spend some time talking about, though, the Neon Demon, which I'm very excited about. We're also going to tell you what we thought about Lawrence of Arabia, Matt. It's going to be the wrap-up of our Classics Marathon, the films that we're embarrassed we never saw. Well, the last one finally has been seen. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And then we're going to do our Marathon Awards, where we're going to tell you what we thought, what was the best film of the series? Who was the best actor? Who was the best supporting actress? All of that. We're going to get into that as well. But, Matt, let's start everything off, if I may, with the Neon Demon.
I see 20 or 30 girls come in here every day. From small towns with big dreams. Some girls crack under the pressure. You're going to be great.
What's it feel like? You walk into a room. It's like in the middle of winter. You're the sun.
It's everything. You know what my mother used to call me? Dangerous. You're a dangerous girl. She was right. I am dangerous.
Matt, so that was the Neon Demon. I almost did it again. I almost said the Neon Demon. I don't know what it is about that triggers that in my head, but there it is. Matt, all right. So just to set everything up for the kids. So we have a young model who's coming to LA, right? And she's trying to make it big. And she meets a lovely young makeup artist named Ruby, played by Jenna Malone. And she's kind of lonely, and she's trying to make new friends. She's a little scared in this whole new world she doesn't quite know or understand. She's staying at a seedy motel run by a really disturbing hotel manager, played beautifully by Keanu Reeves. And so Jenna Malone, Ruby, has a couple friends as well, Sarah and Gigi, and they're also models. But there's something going on with them, Matt. There's something off with them. Ruby seems okay, but these two other models, there's something going on, right? Mm-hmm. And now it's basically how Jessie, played by Elle Fanning, as she navigates this world of this up and coming model who has it. That's the whole thing, right? Is she has something unquantifiable, a certain, as the French say, I don't know what. But it's what's going to make her, like, she has it. She's going to be a huge star, and all these people want to have a piece of her, literally. So, Matt, explain to me, why did you hate the Neon Demon? I'm just assuming you did.
I don't know if hate is really fair. I actually don't really know how I felt about it. I mean, on the positive side, I'd say, I liked the visuals. I mean, for all of his faults, for the rest of us, Nicolas Winding Refn, he does shoot beautiful films. And I did like, a lot of I think what he was trying to say. And if you take this movie as vignettes, you can kind of carve them out and kind of, they're saying something about, our obsession with beauty and the modeling industry and all that kind of stuff. But this movie, honestly, what I didn't like about it doesn't really have much of a plot per se. And then kind of towards the end, that last 30 minutes, it's like, well, where the hell is this coming from, kind of thing. It just kind of takes this 90-degree turn into Crazy Town, which is fine, I guess, but I don't know if it really earned it.
No, I think that Refn does a great job of building this up as the film progresses.
Mm-hmm.
You can see Elle Fanning's character too, how she's kind of timid at times, but she knows. She
Right.
knows, and she kind of slowly reveals it to us as an audience that she knows how beautiful he is, and she has whatever that is. She has it,
Right.
and she does use it to her advantage. So she plays herself as some kind of innocent ingenue in the beginning. But as the mask slips and she becomes also more and more involved in this world, like she has the guy. I can't remember the kid's name now. It's unfortunately, but it's the kid she first meets up with, and he's friends. Is it Desmond Harrington? No, that's the creepy photographer guy. Carl Dean. So she meets up with the guy Dean, right? And then he likes her. He's and then trying to get with her and become friends and whatever. And initially she's nice to him, but as she becomes part and more engrossed in this world, you can tell she pushes him away and becomes to really wrap her hands around who she is, who she thinks she's supposed to be. Unfortunately, she runs afoul of two truly disturbing people. Well, three, I guess. Yeah, I think we have to include that third. There is one scene. Well, I shouldn't even say one scene, right? But when Jenna Malone is spurned.
Yeah.
And what she does about it later on, when she has these emotions and these hormones firing, how she sates that is something that will stay with you, I think, for a little bit. It is a very disturbing thing. The whole film at times. It's unsettling throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
But as you said, it's beautifully shot. Cliff Martinez, again, knocks it out of the park with his score. His scores for Drive, Only God Forgives, and now the Neon Demon are stellar. I absolutely love them. So I was really impressed with that. For me, one thing I wrote down, Matt, for me, it was like, it's like Francis Bacon's Figure with Meat come to life. Are you familiar with that painting?
I am familiar with that painting, yes.
So kids at home, Google that. That's kind of what I felt like this movie was. For all its beauty, there's very ugly horror going on inside this film. Mm-hmm. So, and I felt like it was like art house Argento is how I described it. It's an art house horror film.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely very art house. I'll definitely agree with you with that. I mean, again, it kind of has a sense of foreboding. This is one of those films that, it's a lot of style. And there's, but not a lot of, like I said, plot, not a lot of story. It just kind of progresses to the point where it just keeps getting more and more disturbing and until it just finally kind of goes over the deep end there. So, and I kind of wish we could talk about because I have some questions and I'd be curious to see what you thought about some of the stuff that was at the end there, but obviously don't want to root for the kiddos at home.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. We can talk about that off air and maybe. So, yeah, I got to tell you, Matt, when I watched this, it was unsettling. Mm-hmm. There were some points where it was funny. I don't know if it was intentionally funny,
right?
Or if it was just, it's almost like it's the release valve,
right?
Or the tension that for me is ratcheting up. The scene with her in the hotel, not when the mountain lion shows up,
right?
Cougar or whatever it is, but later on.
Right.
And she hears something happening.
Yep.
And then what she eventually does about it initially, is just there's so many interesting choices that he makes in this film. And it's art is what this movie is. And so you have to walk into it and watch it with that in mind. You're not going to have a typical narrative film. That's not what this is really about. This is about visceral experience.
So as the resident apologist for Mr. Refn, Winding Refn, if you will, so where does this rank in the pantheon? Because I haven't seen Only God Forgives. It is on Amazon Prime, so I'll try and check it out. I'm hoping maybe even tonight. But where does this rank for you?
So I haven't seen the Pusher films yet. I actually had them for a while, but then somehow I lost them. So I haven't seen those, but I've seen most everything else he's done. I liked Valhalla Rising. Bronson was my first exposure to him. Obviously, Drive is still number one. I keep going back and forth between this between 2 and 3. I feel like I need to see it again now. The problem is parts of this. I need to experience it again. I do. There's parts that I think I never want to watch again. But I think that's part of the film. I think that's part of the challenge of why I want to see it again. It's one of my favorite things. somebody on Twitter, some reviewer posted. He says, "Just walked out of a screening of Neon Demon. What the f did I just see?" That's kind of how I felt about it. I saw it in a screening, so I saw it with some other critics, but then I also saw it with a packed house, because they do those GoFobo things, where they give away a bunch of tickets.
Right.
And there were people who were gasping, some people laughing at the wrong moments. But I think it's awkward laughter because you don't know what to say or do.
Right.
It was one of those. Some people saying this is horrible, other people saying, that they were terrified. So, and it is splitting people or down the middle. I mean, either people either really like this or they can't stand it. So,
right.
So Matt, I talked about how much I like Keanu in this. Where'd you come down in the John Wick camp?
I mean, he was doing kind of a, I think he was good as like the scumball dirtbag, but I mean, he was doing classic, how do I want to describe it? Overacting, or you could tell he's acting Keanu. I don't know. Sometimes some of the emotions he tries to convey, it's in kind of sleazeballiness, made me kind of chuckle under my breath a little bit. Maybe that was intentional. I don't know, but he was fun to watch while he was on. I'll give him at least that much.
Yeah, I did enjoy his presence every time too. I got to admit. I was just watching it. I was like, it felt very for me, and I'm just gonna say it. It felt very Kubrickian at times for me. The way he designed some of the shots, as well as it's very Lynchian. Let's be honest. There's a lot of David Lynch in this too. So if this is the route he's gonna go down, I'm all right with it. One last thing I wrote here too, Matt, I think you'll agree with this, is I didn't have there was no real emotional impact for me outside of just the permeating feeling of dread and horror, especially by the end of the film. So I think if I had any criticism, you never really latch on to any of these characters.
True.
So I don't know. Elle Fanning was 16 when they filmed this. 16 years old.
Wow. I didn't realize she was so young when they did that.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
Anyway, I really liked it. So I would, if I had to give it a grade, Matt, I would. I'm hovering B plus A minus right now.
Okay.
But I haven't committed yet.
All right. I'd say probably sitting at a solid B right now, but I probably could be talked into a B minus depending on when I saw it for the second time.
Talked into a lower grade?
Talked into a lower grade, yeah.
That's depressing.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I think it's a good visual, but I think it's very telling for me. I mean, obviously, I haven't seen the Pusher films either. I didn't see Only God Forgives, but I think the one that we unequivocally like the best is the only one that he hasn't written of his films that he's directed, and I think that's very telling. That Drive is just so head and shoulders above the rest that it's the one that he didn't write.
Interesting. Fair enough.
Yeah,
I'm not ready to go down that road, but it's an interesting point, and it terrifies me. Matt, I think personally too, should you see it in the theater? I say yes. I think to get the full impact of the visuals and the sound design and the score, I think you need to see it in the theater. From what I understand, it's dropping from theaters this weekend. So if you get a chance, though, please still check it out. Matt, I'm assuming you may not be in the same court as me with that.
I mean, I think it kind of speaks to, and I think people should support these types of movies. If you're going to see it, if you have the opportunity to go see it in the theater, go see it in the theater. Because I mean, obviously, we want to keep seeing things like this released, whether regardless of what you think about it.
I am curious because this was released by Amazon, so I'm wondering if that's going to. This is one of their first real big entries into theater exhibition. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So if you had a chance to see the Neon Demon, shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Tell me how full of hot air I am, as usual. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Matt, let's move on. Let's tell you what's coming up on Blu-ray and DVD this upcoming Tuesday. That's July 5th. Nice. Really nothing. I'm going to tell you a couple things, but nothing by the sea. This is that romantic, sad drama with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie that came out last year. It's a Blu-ray DVD digital copy. It's set in France during the mid-'70s. Vanessa, who is Jolie, maybe not. Maybe that's Pitt's character. See, that'd probably be interesting if they switched the genders and the roles. A former dancer and her husband Roland, Brad Pitt, an American writer, travel the country together. They seem to be growing apart. When they linger in one quiet seaside town, Matt, they begin to draw closer to some of its more vibrant inhabitants, such as a local bar/cafe keeper and a hotel owner. It's supposed to not be very good. So there you go. The Adderall Diaries. I enjoyed the cast on this. James Franco, Ed Harris, Amber Heard, Christian Slater, and Cynthia Nixon. Oscar nominee Franco is riveting as a famous but troubled author whose fascination with a high-profile murder case brings his own dark past into focus, based on the book by Stephen Elliott. That includes commentary by the director Pamela Romanowski, as well as some deleted scenes. Term Life, the latest film directed by, I am blanking, Ralphie, Peter Billingsley.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Another thing that jumps out at me is it's Jonathan Banks is in this, and I think we're all big Jonathan Banks fans around here, thanks to Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. And it also stars Vince Vaughn and Haley Steinfeld. They're both hunted, Matt, by a vengeful mob boss and dirty cops in this action-packed thriller. Also co-stars Bill Paxton and Jon Favreau. So it might be worth watching when it shows up on Netflix, but I am not confident. Criterion is giving us The In-Laws, the comedy starring Peter Falk and Alan Arkin, with a new 2K digital restoration, audio commentary in 2003 featuring the director Arthur Hiller, along with Arkin and Falk, as well as the writer Andrew Bergman. A brand new interview with Arkin as well. And includes a booklet that gives some details about the restoration and including an essay by comedy writer Stephen Winter. Straight to DVD pick of the week, Matt. I chose this one just because of the title. This is a little eye wash for you. You know, when you see something really disgusting online, or you watch a film like The Neon Demon, which is just really disturbing, you need something to clean the palate. Well, here you go. From the Hallmark Channel, I am giving you Murder, She Baked, a chocolate chip cookie mystery.
Sounds very wholesome.
Free-spirited cookie baker Hannah Swenson jumps in to help a handsome new detective track down the culprit and uncover the mystery surrounding the death of her friend and local milk delivery man. Matt, this is supposed to be a series of films starring the baker. Murder, She Baked, a chocolate chip cookie mystery. I just felt good after reading that title, so I thought that's what we would go with this week with your straight-to-DVD pick of the week.
It's very unusual for our straight-to-DVD pick of the week. It's usually something that makes you feel Leap for Humanity. It's usually what we get.
Yes. So, Matt, let me ask you, is there anything streaming right now you want to tell the kids about?
No, I haven't. We've been watching, all my movie time has been taken up on actual new movies and our marathons. I haven't really watched anything new.
Yeah, I know. It's been pretty rough out there. I've been trying. I knew the latest in the last season. I didn't realize the last season of The League is on Netflix right now. And then, of course, I missed I had DVR in so many shows. I missed the last 5 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
And I've been trying to catch up with those, and that's been really good.
Yeah, that was good.
So, I mean, it's funny when you watch that show and you think about where it started. That first season, up until they got to Captain America, Winter Soldier, was not good. But once they were able to kind of blow up the whole thing, it's been gangbusters, I think, ever since.
Gangbusters.
So there's 2 things on Netflix right now you can check out.
Yeah. Oh, and if you haven't, they also, I think I plugged this show before, but in case I haven't, Documentary Now, which is an IFC series with Bill Hader and what's his name?
Armisen?
Yes, Fred Armisen. Those are absolutely hilarious. If you haven't seen them and you're familiar with documentaries, they are pitch perfect and they are hilarious.
I'll have to check that out. I have not. You have mentioned it, but I haven't had a chance to see them yet. All right, Matt, let's move on. Let's wrap up the Classics Marathon with a film we are embarrassed that we never saw. And that is Lawrence of Arabia. Let's hear a clip.
I deem him one of the greatest beings alive in our time. We shall never see his like again. His name will live in history. It will live in the annals of war. It will live in the legends of Arabia.
Who is he? Vetu. Tavas! What is your name? My name is for my friends. None of my friends is a murderer. Come on, man!
For over a quarter of a century, controversy has raged around the name of T.E. Lawrence. No man of our time has drawn upon himself so much praise and so much criticism. Lawrence of Arabia, the man torn between two civilizations. Lawrence of Arabia.
So every now and then we get to see a movie that we haven't seen before, and then you realize all the things that bit off of it. You see all the things. Oh, that's where that's from. Or you're like, oh, I didn't realize that originated in that.
Yeah.
I probably got half a dozen of those things watching this film.
Yep.
Like the first one that made me almost jump out of my chair that I thought was so awesome, was so cool, is it's the trick is not minding that it hurts. And I gotta tell you, so we have David Lean's masterpiece, a film Steven Spielberg called A Cinematic Miracle. It's the last film in our marathon, Matt. It started with Gone with the Wind. We went to On the Waterfront, Rebel Without a Cause, Bridge on the River Kwai, and then finally Lawrence of Arabia. Matt, I didn't even realize directed by the same guy who did Bridge on the River Kwai.
No, I didn't realize that either.
I was doing my research, and I'm like, wait a minute, I know that name. I'm like, oh yeah, that's how proof that I have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about.
So hand in your card.
I've been talking a lot, Matt. So why don't you break down for the kids at home, what's Lawrence of Arabia about in 30 seconds? Go.
In 30 seconds, go. It's basically the story of Lawrence fighting during World War I in the Arabian Peninsula, and his leading forces against the Arab National Council, and it's basically a war film essentially in a part of the country or the world that you really didn't think about in World War I. I don't. You don't. You never really think about it. That's true. I have to admit, I don't. Whenever I think of World War I, think of the trench warfare. With the Germans and everything. I never really get into the whole Arabian Peninsula battles. So, Matt, what do you think? Was this any good? Did you like it? Was it yeah. It was excellent, actually. I mean, my one complaint again, not gonna lie, when I looked at the running time of this thing and it was almost pushing 4 hours, it was tough to get motivated to go see this thing. But
I just split it up over 2 nights.
Yeah, I couldn't do it all in one sitting either. But yeah, I mean, it was. There's just the scope and the kind of the cinematography and the acting and just it's probably the most action packed of the movies, or at least the ones that had the most moving scenes or whatever. As far as a lot of the movies we watched were pretty quiet, except for maybe parts of the first one. But
Gone with the Wind.
Yeah, Gone with the Wind. But yeah, it was an excellent movie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever. This is one of the most stunningly beautiful films I've ever seen in my entire life. Like I said in every episode, there's a reason they call these classics. Matt, I didn't realize this is Peter O'Toole's real first role. I mean, he had some smaller parts and other things, but this was his first real big performance, and it's considered to be, and I think I have to agree, one of the greatest performances of all time. His portrayal of T. Lawrence, Matt, he imbues the character with a sophistication I can't really even describe. He's a man of just parallel lives, right? Because he's a thrill seeker. He's this posh Englishman. He's egotistical as hell at times, but he's also very concerned with honor. He's fighting the duality though within himself, with the fact that he's a member of the English military, but he truly identifies with these Arabian desert tribes. That's where he seems to feel the most at home. He has this disgust with violence and war, but he has this almost addiction to adventure. That it's just, and then there's the whole issue too, which I did not see coming, but I was impressed was included, is some just subtle allusions to his sexuality as well as to him not possibly being straight. And there's also there's a scene where they allude to it, but I guess it depends on who you talk to. But he's violated in a very specific way at one point when he's captured, and the way they set that up too. I mean, it's just to have something like that in a film in 1962. The way Lean handles it as the director is absolutely fantastic. So I was just really impressed with this thing from start to finish. And the score for this film, everybody, you listen to the show, you know that I'm a big fan of movie scores. Stunning, Matt. Beautiful. You hear the music in this thing. It's rousing. It's exhilarating. And again, Maurice Jarre, this is, and I'm assuming I'm butchering his last name. I know he's French. He's been around for a very long time. This was his first real big score that he ever did too. And it's an instant classic. And what's funny here's how sad I am. When there's scenes and I'm watching this film and I'm hearing the music and I'm thinking, oh, that sounds like some of the score, some of the pieces from the Uncharted series, the video game series, right, which totally makes sense that they would borrow from this film for that. But still, Matt, I'm telling you, it was absolutely, it was a perfect film. I could find no faults. And I want to, you know what? And I think QT is right. I think Quentin Tarantino is right. We need to bring this kind of stuff back. I would love the fact that there was an overture at the beginning of the film. I loved it. There's an intermission. You know, you have the whole thing. I don't know. It's a different time. It's a different type of filmmaking that you just really don't see anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, did you have any kind of anything? You know, was Peter O'Toole was an earthquake every time he comes on screen or anything like that?
Every gesture, earthquake.
Yeah, exactly.
As they said about James Dean. I know. Yeah. I should never have told you that I wrote that down.
I'm so happy you did, though.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic performance. I wasn't physically moved like I was by James Dean performance in Rebel Without a Cause.
Right.
But it was still fantastic. If I have any criticism in this film, it's not it's just a sign of the times, and that's the casting of Alec Guinness as the Sheik, as it's a horrible idea as Prince Faisal. It is. But what are you going to do? That's just the way it was done back then, right? I mean, Laurence Olivier played what the hell is the Shakespearean play with the African American, not African American,
Othello.
Othello. He played. So it's anyway. You know, it's just what are you gonna do? So if there's any missteps, it's that. But that's just the way it was done. But at least we got Omar Sharif. We got some authenticity in there.
There you go.
You know, Anthony Quinn as well. So yeah, no, but that's that's the only thing I could even remotely criticize, and I can't even really hold that against it because that's just what they did then.
Right. Well, you know, considering where we've come from when we started this marathon, I think they've made significant progress as they went through it. So
that's very true.
Yeah.
There's no soft shoeing in Lawrence of Arabia.
No, there is not.
So I don't know. I don't, Matt. I feel like you weren't as impacted by this as I was.
I mean, you know, it's kind of one of these, you know, for me, and I don't know if, you know, I'm just kind of, you know, it was burned out on some of these films, but I mean, you're right. It is absolutely gorgeous. You know, it's like one of the, and it's interesting that we kind of bookended this entire process through with like kind of like two, like if you heard old Hollywood spectacle, I mean, this is like one of those things that's going to come up to the top. Like it's, you know, this and Ben-Hur and stuff like that. And it's, you know, that's really what this is. And I mean, and it's absolutely gorgeous and just a kind of, you know, the skill and to the craft and the acting. But to me, you know, sometimes it kind of just loses, it just lost heart a little bit, I guess, because it was just so big, you know, it was just, it didn't have a lot of intimacy to it, which is fine. I guess that's not really the story that they were telling, you know, obviously it came back and through, but, you know, obviously it was, you know, it kind of kept you at arm's length, if that makes any sense.
I did not get that at all.
No,
I did not get that impression at all. So I can't believe how disturbingly wrong you are about that, but that's fine. We can't all be film studs like one half of the hosts here.
That's right.
Every gesture an earthquake, my friend.
That's right.
So we'd love to hear your thoughts. Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. Matt, where'd you stack up in our marathon? Well, you know what? We're going to take a break, and we're going to tell you what the best film was of this marathon. We're going to tell you who the best actor was, the best director. I know the one you're most waiting for, the most racist moment out of this series. Let's get into all that after this clip.
Anywhere within 300 miles of Medina, there are Hashemite Bedouins. They can cross 60 miles of desert in a day.
Oh, thanks, Dryden. This is going to be fun.
Lawrence, only two kinds of creature get fun in the desert. Bedouins and gods, and you're neither. Take it from me. For ordinary men, it's a burning, fiery furnace.
No, Dryden. It's going to be fun.
It is recognized that you have a funny sense of fun.
So, Matt, I want to do this Oscar style. I want to start with supporting. I want to go main, and then I want to go director, racist moment, and then best picture. Does that work for you?
That works for me.
All right. So why don't you start everything off? Why don't you tell us who you feel was the best supporting actor of this marathon? And let me refresh everybody's minds again. We started with Gone with the Wind. We followed it up with On the Waterfront. Then, of course, Rebel Without a Cause. Nobody cooler than James Dean. Bridge on the River Kwai, and then wrap things up with Lawrence of Arabia. So, Matt, your best supporting actor is
best supporting actor.
Yes.
I'm gonna go with Omar Sharif. I thought he was excellent in Lawrence of Arabia.
Yeah, it was really a tie for me between William Holden, and Bridge on the River Kwai.
Yeah.
And Omar Sharif, and I ended up going with Holden.
Okay.
I just enjoyed his performance. He's a man's man in that film. Something I desperately aspire to be. So I ended up going with Holden because I guess that was my final decision.
That's your final answer.
That's my final answer.
There you go. Okay.
So best supporting actress. I'll go first on this one, Matt. This was tough. You know why it was tough? Because there weren't a lot to choose from. I blame this I lay this at the feet though of the films we selected.
Right.
A lot of them didn't have strong, if any, female characters in them, let alone supporting ones.
Right.
So I ended up having to go with Olivia de Havilland in Gone with the Wind. Just a sunshine optimist trying to save the day and save her husband Ashley after the Civil War, and dealing with a vile, contemptible human being, Scarlett O'Hara. But she's always trying to do the right thing. And Olivia de Havilland just celebrated her 100th birthday just the other day too.
Yep.
The only cast member still alive. Good for you, Olivia. And congratulations. You are my best supporting actor.
Right. Yeah, she was mine as well. I mean, Melanie Hamilton is really the only decent human being in that entire film. And Olivia de Havilland, she really kind of imbues her with some humanity and pathos, and, just kind of makes you relate to her, which is probably one of the only characters in that whole film that anybody now can probably relate to. So I'm with you.
All right. So then, Matt, why don't you tell us who the best actress was?
Oh, best actress. I was not prepared for that. Okay. Well, this is kind of tough too, because we kind of ran into the same issue. I mean, I don't think there is a woman in Bridge on the River Kwai.
The only one we could really choose, I think, is the problem.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, but I don't want to.
I don't either. Let's put it this way. All right, so clearly, for me, it's Vivian Leigh, Scarlett O'Hara, because I think A, there's a dearth of options, and B, I think it's a talent to make me despise you as much as I do. So I think that takes talent. So there she is. She's my best actress, Vivian Leigh as Scarlett O'Hara, and Gone with the Wind.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's really the only choice. I mean, it's definitely not going to be Natalie Wood from Rebel Without a Cause. So yeah, I guess I got to go with Vivian Leigh as well. I absolutely cannot stand Scarlett O'Hara. Horrible human being. I cannot believe she's like this icon as a character. But I guess Vivian Leigh, she did she made you hate her. That's something.
It's more just a lack of options for me. Yes. All right, then, Matt, I'm going to tell you who I think was. Well, Matt, why don't you tell me who do I think is the best actor out of this series?
Well, he once was described as having every gesture being an earthquake. I'm going to say that you picked James Dean.
I just may have. Just may have. Yeah, there was no contest for me in this. No. I mean, I got to tell you, as I said, Peter O'Toole is fantastic in Lawrence of Arabia as T. Lawrence. He is. It's but for me, nothing. And then of course Brando and On the Waterfront. Come on.
Right.
But still, nothing. No performance in any of these films impacted me the way James Dean did in Rebel Without a Cause. Not even close.
Yeah. I went with Brando just because I knew you were going to pick James Dean, and while I think James Dean, obviously I haven't seen his other two films, and I don't know that much about the man, but I almost feel like he was just playing himself. So whereas I feel like Marlon Brando was actually inhabiting a character. So I went with Brando. I mean, and his performance is fantastic. I mean, it was something magnetic to watch.
I think that's a great point too that you bring up, that Dean was just maybe being James Dean.
Right.
And Brando actually became somebody else.
Right.
I don't care. I love them so much. I can't do it.
You're gonna go down to the University of Tampa Student Union and buy one of those big blow-up posters of James Dean that are in the freshman dorms.
I might. I tell you, I started wearing white T-shirts and red jackets.
Nice.
I've always cuffed my jeans.
Cigarettes and roll them up in there, and you'll be good.
That's right. Candy cigarettes, though.
Yeah.
Don't smoke, kids.
Yeah.
All right. So, Matt, who is the best director of the series? And I can give you a rundown too. So you have so Gone with the Wind, right? We have Victor Fleming, and then we had On the Waterfront, which was Elia Kazan. And then what do we have left? A Rebel Without a Cause, which I do not currently have up. I knew I forgot one. So Matt, the director, of course, as we all know, as everybody knows, it was Nicolas Winding Refn. And then, of course, we have David Lean, who gets 2 shots at the apple.
Yeah.
Bridge in the River Kwai and Lawrence of Arabia. So who do you go with?
I kind of vacillated on this one. So I want to say David Lean, especially since he's got 2 films on the list, and Lawrence of Arabia just as a visual spectacle is incredible. But I think I'm going to go with Victor Fleming, just what he pulled off and just the visuals that are in Gone with the Wind. I mean, there's just some iconic shots in that, and it is a beautiful film at the very least.
Yeah, I mean, the coordination it takes to put that thing together, especially given the limitations set forth at the time.
Yeah,
it is a Herculean effort, I'm sure. Clearly, I didn't pick Rebel Without a Cause because I had to look up the guy's name, so that wasn't in my list. But Matt, I'm telling you, you're wrong. You are dead wrong. It's David Lean in Lawrence of Arabia. There's no option. There's no. Listen, I get Lawrence. I mean, Going to the Wind is fine. I get it, but that whole thing is done basically on a soundstage and some other shots, and he does some practical effects. That's it. David Lean is filming all of these open shots, and he's got to coordinate all these actors and extras or these fights. Nah, there's no contest. It's David Lean, Lawrence of Arabia. Matt, you tell me, what was the most racist moment of this marathon?
For me, it was a subtle moment. It was in Gone with the Wind, of course. Like there was really any option here. Was when all of the debutantes at the party in the beginning of the film, they all decide to go take a nap, and they have all of the little slave children fanning them because it's hot while they're in the actual unair conditioned room.
Yeah, that's a rough one. That's a rough one. I really struggle with this one. Clearly, Gone with the Wind is the runaway winner on this. Generally, for most racist moments, it's just there's no way around that, unfortunately.
Right.
I struggled with this because like Butterfly McQueen is prissy. Her whole thing. The fact that I keep going back and forth. There's a scene where everything's on fire and Scarlett's trying to escape in the covered wagon, or they're trying to, I don't remember what the hell it was at this point. And she runs into some of her old slaves, and they're all like, well, that's right. How'd you do? You know, it's just, it was so offensive to me. I almost, at that point, there's a couple times where I almost wanted to turn the film off because of some of the stuff that we saw. But there's that. And then just the overall treatment, how the slaves are portrayed, where they're pretty genial about the whole thing.
Right. Well, I mean, they were going out to dig ditches and fight the Yankees. They were going to whoop them.
Exactly. But probably that scene on the bridge is the one that really almost put me over the edge. Yeah. So that's what I'd have to go with. I don't know. All right, Matt. So I think everybody knows what my best picture is, so I'll go first, and you get the final option.
Okay.
Final pick. Clearly for me, and I should say, not just best picture, I think we should retitle this a film we're most embarrassed that we hadn't seen previously. And for me, clearly it's Lawrence of Arabia. I think Spielberg's right. The film's a miracle. It's a miracle that this thing was made the way it was, how well it turns out. The performances, the cinematography, the score. It's a perfect film. And you just don't see that all the time. Granted, we do get Terminator Genesis, stuff like that every now and then. But and of course, solid B films like Batman vs. Superman.
Right. Yes, solid Bs.
But not like this. No. So that's my the film I'm most embarrassed that I hadn't seen previously.
Well, Jesus, I guess I would have to agree with you if you're saying the film I'm most embarrassed at this point that I hadn't seen. I would agree with you. It would be pretty Lawrence of Arabia, but I think the one I still enjoyed the most and I thought was probably On the Waterfront.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the best one that I enjoyed the most. But I agree. I think the one that I'm most embarrassed not to have seen would be Lawrence of Arabia.
All right. For me, it's just still the best picture of the series is Arabia for me. On the waterfront, I might go 2. I think that would probably be my 2.
There you go.
So, yeah. And in fact, let me finish it out. So I would go Lawrence 1, On the Waterfront 2, Rebel Without Cause 3, and then I'd probably go Gone with the Wind 4 and Bridge 5.
Yeah. I'd really like to put Gone with the Wind 5, but yeah, I think Bridge is probably the least entertaining and probably the most boring one of the one we watched. So I'd agree with that.
Yeah. All right. So that's it. Shoot us an email. Feedback at the first run. The marathon of classics that we have not seen is done.
Mm-hmm. And we could do it again, to be quite honest with you. With a completely different set of 5.
2 to 3 more times.
Yeah.
But the albatross is off our shoulders, Matt. We're ready to move on. We have a new marathon coming up, Matt. And I got to tell you, I think it perfectly fits in with this classics marathon. I can't think of and I teased it a couple of weeks ago, or maybe it was last week.
Yeah.
So if you listen to the show and you listen to the honorable mentions, you've heard what we're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, it's the 50th anniversary.
Yes.
Of Star Trek.
Of course.
So what we're gonna do now, Matt's more of a Star Wars guy, so I'm really curious to see how he's gonna take to this. But we're gonna do the original 6 films. All right, the original Kirk Shatner films with Leonard Nimoy and Spock. We're doing Motion Picture, Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, Voyage Home, of course, The Final Frontier, number 5. And there's a weird article, I think, on the Den of Geek. I have it bookmarked. I haven't read it yet, saying how actually it's unfairly maligned. It's actually an exceptionally interesting or great critique of religious extremism.
Okay.
I don't know if Shatner's got that in him.
Yeah.
I'll read the article and we'll talk about it, but when we get there. And, of course, Part 6, The Undiscovered Country. Matt, I am going to do double duty on this marathon as well.
All right.
I'm going to watch the motion picture.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to watch the director's cut of the motion picture.
Whoa. Wow.
I own them all on Blu-ray. I own all the director's cuts on DVD.
Okay.
So I'll be able to double down and try and get that done. Same thing for Star Trek 2. I will do. I think that's the only ones that were director's cuts. Oh, and Part 6 too. So anyway, so that's what's coming up. I'm very, very excited. We'll have to come up with ways to tie in stuff too for other segments of the show. I don't know. I'm a huge Star Trek fan, so I'm very excited to actually incorporate that into the show. That's it, Matt. That's going to be the big show for this week.
Wow. That went by fast.
It did. So check us out. We're on YouTube. You can watch a live stream of the show. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Just do a search for The First Run. We'll come right up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it, Matt. We're going to take an extended break. Matt, I have another movie quote for you. I can't decide if I want to do movie quotes or ask you movie trivia. I've read a couple of these, and they're all horrible. So I'll just do you this one. Hakuna Matata. It means no worries, from The Lion King. There you go.
That was weak sauce, Chris, but that's all right. We'll forgive you for one other week.
All right, thank you. So we're going to take an extended break, and we'll see you all in a week. Take care, guys.
The trick, William Potter, is not minding that it hurts.